What's good? How y'all doing? My name is Zachary Carroll, aka Pastor Z. Welcome to this is Apologetics Monday, but did the Holy Spirit just put on my heart to talk about this recent situation? Because I think this could be learned, and it's apologetics adjacent, but not necessarily full on apologetics. But recently we have a extremely viral social media influencer named Keith Lee. He is a food critic and he goes all around the country, all around the world. He's a former MMA fighter that basically critiques restaurants and gives reviews, and he has over 14 million followers on TikTok. And he went to Atlanta. He was recently in Atlanta, and he went crazy out there. Okay, Atlanta is well known for black owned businesses. All right, they are well known for being a city full of well off black people. I have a lot of family and friends that live in Atlanta. Gotta love this city. And so he did a food tour going to different restaurants. He praised a lot of restaurants, which are now like rolling because people just they're just lined up out of the door. And some restaurants he gave bad reviews because they got bad service or didn't get serviced at all, couldn't get a table. And what I love about Keith Lee is that if because of his celebrity status, he can get a table. He won't sit down if you wouldn't do that same treatment to his family members who are not as popular as he is. So apparently, this guy is, I've never heard of him except for last week, but apparently, he is an amazing father and husband. And I've watched a few of his videos. He is very uh, kind and nice. I don't know if he's a Christian, but he definitely seems like one. So he ran into some smoke with none other than Chad Ochocinco. And let's just hear what Chad had to say. Basically, Chad doesn't like what Keith Lee is doing. But let's see what Chad has to say.
And have a totally different experience.
Listen, I hear what you're saying, and I'm gonna agree to disagree.
Okay.
I like to leave my mark on all restaurants I go to, regardless of what it is. I am more about being the positive influence, and when I leave those places and leaving my mark, and I don't want my mark to be that of what Brother Keith Lee is doing. Listen, I salute him to what he's doing and trying to let the people know about restaurants in Atlanta. The restaurants that I've been in Atlanta, that I've been to, have been
Yeah.
just fine.
Ocho,
All of them
but you
have
do
been just
realize
fine.
a lot of times, people have said their restaurant has been saved because he's giving them a positive critique. Huh?
He ain't feeling it.
Huh? A lot of the restaurants said they have been able to remain in business because of the positive critique. So now, again, like I said, I don't have a problem tipping. A lot of times when I leave my room, I left money on the table today. I said, ma'am, I was at the table last night and I didn't get an opportunity to throw the stuff in the trash. I said, I left money on the table. It's yours if you clean it up. It might not have been her room, but I bet you went in there and got that stuff off that table and threw it away.
Yeah. I got
I'm
you,
a
man.
I'm a service I'm a service type of guy.
So
Hey,
I'm
basically, Chad Johnson doesn't like how Keith Lee will give honest reviews of the restaurants he visits. He basically just he's in a respectful way. He says, "I ain't with it. I don't like what he's doing. I don't like what he's doing." And the problem is, or the reason why I felt like it was important for me to discuss this is Chad Ochocinco is on code right now. Let me explain. He is expressing his frustration with Keith Lee because of the way our society defines love. Okay, so Keith Lee is black. Chad Ochocinco is black. All the restaurants that went viral in Atlanta are black. And because they're black, and because, black folk, it's a hard time for black folk to get businesses and make them successful. And as a black man, you should just, or at least Chad's opinion is that I'm just going to support black businesses no matter what. It's so hard for them to get their licenses and all this stuff and they probably had a bad day. And even if I get bad for service, there's no such thing as bad service. It is what it is. Like, it's a black business. You shouldn't say anything but positivity about those restaurants because they're black owned. All right. The racial issues aside, the problem with, or why it's expected is because Chad's foundation for love is acceptance, positivity, always affirming what they're doing, always saying, oh, hey, good job. You're doing good. Keep on going. Even though you kind of suck at being a server, you kind of suck at providing good service to customers, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. I love you. I love the fact that you're black. I love the fact that you're a black business owner. Here you go. Here's $500 for that bad service as a tip. But that is how our culture defines love. Our culture defines love as affirmation. Anything you do, everything you do, whoever you want to love, however you want to love, how many you want to love, when you want to love, how love is expressed physically. That is how we define love. It is, if not, so many times I hear one of the main reasons why Christians fall off the path of truth and start affirming all types of sexually immoral behavior is this idea of love. I have a friend that is gay. I have a friend that's lesbian. I have a friend that's trans, or whatever it is. I have a family member. If you look at any argument on Jubilee or middle ground, and there are people that are kind of on the fence with certain topics, what sends them over to the more affirming side is because they have a friend that is in that community. They have a friend that is living that lifestyle. And because they love them, they have to affirm the specific behavior. Even if deep down they know it's wrong. Romans 1, God has taught all of us that these things are wrong, that certain things are wrong and certain things are right. But the way we define love, the way we express love and apply this definition of love, that you can't love somebody unless you affirm everything they're doing. And if you critique somebody, if you say, hey, you know what? That's not right. You know what? You're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to live like that way. Then you become someone who hates. You're a bigot. And it's like we have grown accustomed to people not being honest, number one. And in light of or in fear of hurting someone's feelings, we will tell someone what we think they want to hear, despite what they need to hear. I think Dr. Frank Turek said in one of his seminars is that when you say things that you believe they want to hear, you're only doing so to protect yourself. When you say things to other people that you know they need to hear, you're protecting them. This is the problem. This is why what Chad is saying, it kind of dawned on me when Chad was getting mad at Keith Lee for being honest. It is because his foundation of love is just always positive. Even when you don't get bad service, like he said, there's no such thing as bad service. There's no such thing as right and wrong when it comes to sexuality and marriage and gender. There's no such thing. It is whatever. I mean, if you don't get the service that you want, there's some justifiable reason that makes it not bad. I mean, to me, that's a very bizarre way to look at the world. And it's wrong. But let's listen to a little bit of Keith Lee's response.
100% honest. If you want me to come, please understand, I will be honest. I don't mean no harm. I don't have no malicious intent. I mean that, and when I say it, I mean it. People be like, well, you know what you're doing. You know if you give a bad review, people are going to come and flood it with hate comments. What else do you want me to do? I'm telling people not to go and leave hate comments. I'm telling people not to leave negative comments. I'm telling people make their own opinions. You want me to lie and say I had a good experience, or you want me to only post the videos when I have a positive experience? That all of the videos I post is only going to be positive experience. Then the narrative is going to be pushing. I'm only trying to be positive, and we're going to end up in the same situation. And on top of that, I think something is getting lost in translation. When that happens, the restaurants that we are blessed enough to help won't be helped in the same manner because people won't show up in the same way because my reviews would be inauthentic. One of the reasons people show up the way they do is because they know I'm being honest and I'm giving my personal opinion and my personal perspective on the situation. But if I don't do that anymore, it won't be the 3 or 4 hour wait times, and now we won't be able to help business owners and we won't be able to give back to the community. In the grand scheme, that's what
he's basically saying that if all he says is affirmation, his word becomes unreliable because we all know the truth. Everything isn't positive all the time. If you come to me and ask and present to me a situation, a circumstance for like every day for a month, it's on a different topic. It's whatever it is. And every time you come to me, I respond to you positively, or I say I affirm you. Like if you're a parent and your child comes to you asking if he can eat whatever, eat this, or can I go out there? If you always say yes to him or her, eventually they're going to ask you if they can do something that's actually going to harm them. It's actually going to like lead to their destruction. So you're not showing love by not being honest with people when you're not telling them exactly how you feel. Most of the people who are more affirming aren't really affirming. They don't believe what you're doing is right deep down. They just don't want to deal with the struggle and the issues where telling you to your face, which they should do in a kind way, in a teaching way, rather than a combative and a quarreling way, which a lot of people like to do. But they don't want to deal with that tension between how you're living your life and how they know you should be living your life according to God's will. A lot of Christians fall into this because we don't want to be uncomfortable, or we don't want to be in this modern United States type persecution where we get ostracized from our friends. People don't really like talking to us or being around us because of what we believe. We don't want that. We want to be accepted. We want to be loved. We want to be known for being loved according to the world's definition, which is what Chad is pushing Keith Lee to do. And Keith Lee is explaining not only will his influence drop, I think he continues, but there's another reason why, like, if he's not honest, it's going to be a problem.
This is about. It's about giving back. It's about giving back to the community. It's about stimulating the economy. That's what it's about. All the other stuff, I'm a simple man in real life. As long as me and my family healthy and safe and we can live a comfortable life, I'm straight. Again, it's a double-edged sword. I understand with great power comes great responsibility. God made me for this. I'm built for this. At the end of the day, I just want to eat food, walk in my path. If you want to be on the journey with me, you are more than welcome. If you don't, God bless you. Y'all have an amazing day. Y'all be safe. Same situation. And on top of that, I think something that's getting
See, I missed
not
it.
to go and leave hate comments. I'm telling you 100% honest. If you want me to come, please understand. Crazy to me. It was so much positive that happened in Atlanta that was shunned by the negative. It was so many restaurants we was blessed enough to help. We went to an array of restaurants like we always do at every city. I'm gonna be 100% transparent, 100% candid. Me and my family will postpone touring if other cities gonna be like this. Every review not gonna be the best. I'm gonna be 100% honest. If you want me to come, please understand.
Okay, yeah, must be another video. Basically, he said if he says that a restaurant serves good food, has good food, but they don't. Okay, if he's operating in this affirmation type love instead of the honest type love, when he gives that positive review, which is a lie, and other people follow that review and wait 4 or 5 hours to get some food from this dope spot that he said was great, but it isn't, like, that business is not going to continue to be successful. It's not going to help the business, and he is going to lose his own credibility. So not only do you harm the other person over the long haul, you lose your credibility. And honestly, God is going to look at you sideways when you have opportunities to say the truth and you don't. I mean, it's just not good. And so we have a Bible verse to review here. This is 1 Corinthians 13. It says, love finds no joy in unrighteousness, but rejoices in the truth. Okay? If you truly love somebody, you can't be okay with unrighteousness. All right? Now, it's obviously not a moral issue whether or not somebody provides bad service, but lying is definitely a moral issue. And you rejoice in the truth. If the way somebody is living is bad, you got to tell them. Or else, what's going to happen? I mean, they're going to continue living in that lifestyle or doing that thing, and eventually it's going to harm them. I do think there is an appropriate time and manner, as it says in Ecclesiastes, for everything. So I'm not saying you say, hey, how you doing? My name is Zach. And, oh, by the way, you do need to know people. You need to still till the soil before you plant the seed. But that doesn't mean you lie to them. Okay. You don't need to you don't need to drill it in their head before you even know their middle name. But when things come up, you don't lie to them and say that you're okay with something that you're really not. Now, it's bad enough to be okay with sin, but this is really more speaking to those who know that it's bad, aren't okay with it, but because of the fear of being persecuted or hurting someone's feelings, we will allow, or we'll lie and say that it's great, it's good, and there's no problem, and then you should continue doing it. Whatever it is, just fill in the blank. Love rejoices in truth. So I think this circumstance was a great example of how the culture kind of backfired on itself. Chad Ochocinco was showing the type of love that the culture wants. The culture wants love that doesn't give the honest answer when it stings. There's a proverb that I'm going to have to look up because I don't remember it. Speaking of proverbs, don't forget to download your free ebook at the link in the description. Let's see. It's wounds of a friend are trustworthy. Proverbs 27:6. The wounds of a friend are trustworthy, but the kisses of an enemy are excessive. And so if you are a friend, a true friend, and you have to say something or do something that wounds this other person, that wounds somebody else, that's okay. Because in fact, if you're steadily trying to be positive, at least if somebody to you is trying to be positive with you all the time, it's probably because deep down they don't like you. But the one that will say some things that will hurt your feelings, and then they're actually trying to help you, they're not just trying to be mean or a hater. The wounds of a friend. This is when, you know someone, you see something that's not right, whatever it is, and you have to say something that is the truth. It may cause a wound, but it's trustworthy. The aftermath. The aftermath is redemption. People need to be told the truth in a loving way, but you certainly don't love someone when you don't tell them the truth. That's basically the principle. That is the principle of 1 Corinthians 13. Where is it at? 1 Corinthians 13. That is the basic principle. If you can rejoice with someone when you know you ain't doing right and they ain't doing right and y'all ain't doing right together, you do not love that person. You don't. You may have fun with that person, but you don't love them. So one thing I loved about that circumstance, because Chad has apologized and everything was fine. And I mean, I know Keith Lee's family is getting death threats because people are sensitive. People are really sensitive. But I just loved how this kind of was the logical conclusion of a type of love that affirms everything. And it doesn't work. When you affirm everything, if everything you do is positive, eventually your word will be worthless. Because why am I going to come to you with something I'm really struggling with? I really need an answer to. I really need counsel on. Why would I come to you with that when I know you're just going to say what you think I want to hear? I understand that maybe we all need somebody in our life, and at certain times where we don't want counsel, we don't want the honest truth, we just want to vent, or we just want our emotions to be soothed. But at some point, you have to be honest with somebody if they're going to move forward. If you want them to move forward and get better, if you have a business that's not providing good service, instead of tipping them an astronomical amount and saying thank you, you tell them, which is harder. That's the problem. It's harder to say, hey, I didn't like that, or it's not that great. But you can love and critique at the same time. But you cannot love and lie at the same time. It doesn't work like that at all. So, all right, well, love to know what you think down below of this situation. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Download the free ebook at the link in the description. My name is Zachary Carroll, aka Pastor Z. Y'all be cool.